You stop eating mango?
I stopped eating mango.
Does it help any? Even if that's the cause, it may take a little time for the body to work it out. You don't add to the problem. That mango, for some people, mango does cause that kind of problem, actually. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Srila Gopi Jana Balava Srila Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Shamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Srivardhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we're reading Srila Prabhupada Nectar, but I thought I'd take advantage. And we can also sing a song. So we've sung this one before. Aruna Doya Kirtan, the first part. So. Udila Aruna Purava Vaje Dvijamani Gora Amani Jage Vakutta Sangmuha Loya Sate Gela Nagara Braje. Tattai Tattai Bhajalako Jana Gana Gana Tahe Janjiraro. Preme Dala Dala Sonara Anga Charane Nupura Bhaje. Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari Bolena Bolore Vadana Bori. Micheni Davashe Gelore Rati Divasa Sharira Saje. Emana Durlava Manava Deho Payaki Kora Bhavana Keho. Evina Bajile Yashoda Sutta Charame Puri Bailaje. Udita Tapana Hoile Asta Dina Kila Bole Hoile Jamyasta. Tabe Kano Ebe Alasa Hoy Nabaja Kridoya Baraje. Jivana Anitya Jana Hasar Tahena Vida Tahena Navida Viparabar. Namashraya Kori Jatane Tumi Takana Apana Kaje. Jivera Kalyana Saranakam Jagate Asiye Madhuryanam. Avijatimira Tapana Rupe Gridi Gagane Viraje. Krishna Nama Shuna Koryapan Jurayo Bhakti Vinoda Pran. Nama Bina Kichunahiko Aro Chola Bhuvana Maje. Translation. This is about Lord Chaitanya going out on Harinam Sankirtan early in the morning, as soon as the sun came up. When a tinge of red on the eastern horizon heralded the sunshine, the jewel of the twice-born, Lord Gaura Sundar, immediately awakened. Taking his devotees with him, he went all over the countryside, visiting towns and villages of Nadia. The mridungas resounded, tut-tai, tut-tai, and the cymbals chimed in time, and Lord Gauranga's foot bells jingled as his golden form trembled slightly in ecstatic love of God. Lord Chaitanya called out to the townsfolk, "You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. Now just fill your mouths with the vibration of the holy names, Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava, Hari, chanting without offense." You have achieved the rare human body. Don't you care for this gift? If you do not serve the darling of Yashoda now, great sorrow awaits you at death. Each time the sun rises and sets, a day passes and is lost. Then why do you remain idle and refuse to serve the Lord of the heart? Understand this essential fact. Life is temporary and full of all kinds of miseries. So take shelter of the holy name as your only business. Desiring to bless all souls, the sweet name of Krishna has descended to the material world and now shines like the sun in the sky of the heart, destroying the darkness of ignorance. It means saying that the name of Krishna, the name of Krishna is desiring to bless all souls. The name of Krishna. And so the name of Krishna has descended. So the name of Krishna is also personal. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna, and thus satisfy the soul of Bhakti Vinod. There is nothing but the holy name within all the 14 worlds. Imagine going on Harinam Sankirtan with Lord Chaitanya just as the sun came up in the morning. Around here you get in problem because everyone's, the police would come and say, "Why are you disturbing the peace?" But he would take everyone out, saying, "Wake up, sleeping souls! Wake up, sleeping souls! You're wasting your human form of life. Use your time and chant Hare Krishna." So we're going on this reading for Srila Prabhupada Nectar. Volume 5, number 37. On different occasions, Prabhupada's touring in Europe, Guru Gauranga Das got the opportunity firsthand to see Srila Prabhupada's expertise in preaching according to time and place. In 1972, after his arrival at the Orly Airport in Paris, Srila Prabhupada held a press conference. Guru Gauranga acted as translator. One reporter was interested in Srila Prabhupada's personal life before he became a leader of the Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada went along with the line of questioning and explained how he had given up his family and had accepted the sannyas order. Then the reporter asked how many children Prabhupada had. At that point, Prabhupada looked at him and said, "Thousands." The man widened his eyes and began writing in his pad as if he had gotten a sensational story. And all of them I have had without my wife, Prabhupada said. Then he said that many of his children were sitting there with him in the room. When he said that, the devotees shouted, "Haribol!" The reporter looked sheepish. as he began to understand what Prabhupada meant. He didn't hit him at first, but sure. In 1974, when Srila Prabhupada traveled to Geneva, Guru Gauranga was temple president, and he got a chance to see Prabhupada even more closely. Guru Gauranga had arranged for Prabhupada to speak at the World Health Organization. Half an hour before Prabhupada was to speak, Guru Gauranga showed Prabhupada a copy of a journal published by the WHO, WHO means World Health Organization. The journal described the organization's birth control programs. And when Prabhupada saw their pictures and read what they said, when Prabhupada saw their pictures and read what they did, he became angry. He asked Guru Gauranga why he had arranged a program there. Guru Gauranga explained that it was a very influential forum. They do not care what I say. They do not care what I say, Prabhupada replied. Whatever I say, they will simply print my picture and they will say Bhaktivedanta Swami at the WHO, and they will publish it in such a way that it looks like I'm supporting their activities. Prabhupada then asked various devotees in the room whether or not they thought he should go to the program. The devotees expressed their opinions, and then Prabhupada asked Guru Gauranga if they could hold a kirtan. He asked Guru Gauranga if they could hold a kirtan at the program. They can't stop us once we start, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Gauranga answered. Finally, Prabhupada just said, let's go. In his talk, Prabhupada said, this is how Srila Prabhupada handled the situation. In his talk, Prabhupada said that only dogs and cats could create overpopulation, but the first-class human beings could not. He then smashed the World Health Organization's scientific birth control program, and at the end of the program, many Indians crowded around him, praising him and expressing their appreciation. Because birth control just means you don't control your senses, and then you birth control means we know what it means. So you're preventing the child from being born. You have sex, you're enjoying your senses, and you don't take responsibility. And another place, Srila made a similar statement. Same idea. He was saying that many. He says there are 8,400,000 species of life, and there are 400,000 of them are human beings. And only the human beings have the ability to control their senses. The animals, they don't control their senses. But the human beings, only the ability. So what do? The human beings simply have to control their senses. Only the human beings have the ability to control their senses. So this whole problem that has come about in society, that they say overpopulation, but unwanted children like that. This whole problem is stopped if the human beings who have that, because they have the ability to control their senses, if they control their senses and don't have sex more than for the children that they want to raise and take care of. I mean, he made that point. It was and people appreciated it. He was straightforward. They had so many plans at that particular program, how to deal with overpopulation and different things like that. And Srila Prabhupada said, it's easy. You're human beings. You have the ability to control your senses. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. Once Prabhupada visited Australia. As he walked into the Sydney temple, Jagatarini Dasi Nasi, ran ahead to remove his shoes and picture from the Vyasa-san. Upon seeing Prabhupada, she immediately began to cry. Prabhupada asked the temple president who she was, and he was told she was Borijan's wife. Prabhupada then asked if she had been fighting with her husband. Jagatarani Nasi lied and said no. Good, Prabhupada said. Husband and wife should never fight. And then told a story of how Gandhi once threw his wife out of the house, but later allowed her to return. He explained that even if a husband and wife were fighting, that should not be taken seriously. He compared such fights to clouds which thunder but do not produce rain. Thunder with no rain. During the Kumbh Mela in 1977, Prabhupada said that he wanted to bathe in the Triveni. Triveni is, you know what Triveni is? There's some sacred rivers. There's the Ganges, the Yamuna, and I think the Saraswati. There's one place that three Veni means, or Veni means like a river. So there's three rivers that come together at one point, and it's called Triveni. It's a place of pilgrimage also. So in Kumbh Mela in 1977, Prabhupada said that he wanted to bathe in the Triveni, but he did not want to go into the crowd. He requested the devotees to go at the auspicious hour and return with water so that he could bathe with it the following day. Two devotees managed to reach the Triveni and return with a bucket of water. The next morning, Prabhupada gave a darshan. Everyone wanted to know how his bath had been. Prabhupada thought for a moment and said it was like any bath of any water from the tap. He went on to explain that even though many millions of people go to the Triveni during Kumbh Mela to take their auspicious bath, any service that anyone does anywhere in the world for the pleasure of Krishna is more auspicious. So we don't actually have to go to India. Huh?
We don't have to go to special places.
Yeah, you don't have to go to India or someplace and go, take bath in all these auspicious rivers and all these things. If you just engaging in devotional service, you get the same result. But a lot of people aren't engaged in devotional service. Even if you're born in India, not a lot of people are just, they're not really practicing Krishna consciousness. They're not really engaged in devotional service. So they try to make their life auspicious by taking advantage of these auspicious times and auspicious rivers and like that. But then Prabhupada also says in other places that the purpose of going to places of pilgrimage is not just to go and bathe in the holy rivers like that. It's to go and hear from the saintly persons, the devotees, about Krishna, which of course we can do without going to the holy places. Actually, the temple is a holy place. This is a holy place. Because Krishna is here, the devotional service is going on here. So the temples are places of pilgrimage, actually. And of course, in some temples, well, not this location, but another location in Miami, Srila Prabhupada also visited. If you didn't know, you may have noticed we have two Vyasa-sans here, right? There.
Yeah.
That one and that one.
Yeah.
So we have two because that's the newer one, match the altar. That one is the one that Srila Prabhupada actually sat in when he came to the Miami temple in 1975. So we've kept it. We'll always keep that. But a place becomes a place of pilgrimage by by Krishna and deities here, and also by engaging in devotional service. Then it becomes like a place of pilgrimage, and people can feel the difference. Here, obviously, we're a temple. When our temple was in another location, it was, I forget the street we were on then. Anyway, it was some other. We had another place in Miami where we had some land, some cows, some peacocks, swans, everything. It was all there. We had 7 or 8 acres of land at the time. So it was and we grew all our own flowers also, marigolds primarily. Nice big orange flowers this size. So we had all that. And people would come walking by because there was no fence around the property, so people would come walking by and they would just pass through. They didn't know where they were coming, but when they would come inside, a lot of times they would comment that they'd ask what is this place, because as soon as they walked onto this land, I felt so different. It's just so just a whole different atmosphere. I said, yes, it's a Hare Krishna temple, and because there's devotional service going on, that's why you feel a difference. So people can feel it. So, okay, going on. Number 39, little drops of nectar. The subject is, don't sleep in class. In 1974, when Garuda Das was a new bhakta, he had a tendency to fall asleep during Srimad Bhagavatam class. He went with the devotees to India for the Mayapur festival, and while in Vrindavan, he got a chance to hear Prabhupada give Bhagavatam class. During his lecture, Srila Prabhupada appeared to look in Garuda's direction. He pointed and said, "What is he doing?" Prabhupada thought his devotional life was about to come to an end. Prabhupada again asked, what was he doing? And he instructed the devotees to tell him to leave. Some devotees started walking over to where Garuda was sitting. Garuda thought he was really going to get it, but the devotees suddenly stopped and told the devotees sitting in front of him to leave the assembly. Never again did Garuda fall asleep in the Bhagavatam class. So they were looking. Srila Prabhupada wasn't looking at him. He was looking at somebody in front of him. When Prabhupada was traveling in India in 1971, one of the sannyasi servants, Devananda Maharaj, had difficulty staying awake in class. Even when Devananda Swami would sit as straight as a yogi, he would still close his eyes. In the middle of class, Prabhupada would then say, "Don't come here to class and sleep. Go away and sleep 24 hours a day, but don't come and fall asleep in front of me." On another occasion, Prabhupada again noticed devotees sleeping during the Bhagavatam class. He became annoyed and asked the devotees, "Why this sleeping phenomena? Why are you all sleeping? Is it because you don't get enough sleep at night?" The devotees attempted to respond. "It's because we're going to bed late," someone said. "It's because we're eating too much at night," said someone else. Srila Prabhupada made a sour face, shook his head, and said that even if they slept 14 hours a night, they would still sleep in class. He said their excuses were no answers, and that they would only stay awake when they had the conviction that their work in Krishna consciousness was so important that they had no time to sleep. Prabhupada spoke so forcefully that everyone's attention became riveted. I guess it became very attentive. So you imagine. So that's the mood. if we actually understand how important what we're doing is, and how important what we're, the Srimad Bhagavatam class is, then we don't fall asleep. And if we're tired, when I join the movement, even now, if I sit down on the floor during the class, I might start falling asleep. So but even especially when I join the movement, I was really tired. Went from sleeping 9 or 10 hours a night before I joined the movement to 6 hours a night after I joined. So I was tired, but I never sat down. I stood up the whole class, stood up the whole japa period. I never sat down the whole morning program because I was tired and I would have fallen asleep. But because I stayed awake and listened, now I got a taste for Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. So somehow or other we should be very attentive in the class. And I always appreciate that always to come and sit here and actually stay awake and listen. Shishi Gornitai, Shishi Radha Brajami Hare, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, or the Shigane Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. If actually we were reading a series of verses not too long ago from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So by serving the devotees, one gets some desire to hear about Krishna, like hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. By that regular hearing, then we develop an eagerness to hear it. And our eagerness to hear it increases. We're not just, sitting there, well, I got to sit through this class and, when's Prashad time? We actually, you actually, by hearing attentively, then you develop increase your eagerness to hear, to understand, and by doing that, then we naturally become the heart becomes very quickly cleansed. Hearing the philosophy attentively in the right mood, like that, is very, very, very important for becoming Krishna conscious. Even if you don't understand the language. I was in India one time, and I was assisting as brahmachari then, as I was traveling a little bit with him, with sannyasi assisting, but he had to go somewhere for a couple of weeks, and I stayed at this one temple, and in that temple they hardly anyone spoke English, and the classes were all in Hindi. They're in Hindi. I don't speak Hindi, but I sat there in the class every day. I was there for 3 weeks, and every class I listened to, tried to understand it, but I couldn't understand the language. I recognized some verses that were quoted, that was all. But I couldn't understand the language. But I didn't feel that I was missing out on anything, because, just because of that extra endeavor, I took an extra endeavor to try to listen. Because I was making that endeavor to hear and to try to understand what was being said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, then I felt, when the class ended, I felt really good. Someone asked me exactly what all was said in the class. I may not have been able to repeat it, but I know that it was going in, it was coming to the heart, because of the attitude to try to hear, try to understand, respecting the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's like that. And Srila Prabhupada also told some disciples who were traveling with him, when he traveled in India, sometimes he spoke in English, sometimes he spoke in Hindi. He said if he speaks in Hindi, you may not understand, but still stay there for the class. Listen very carefully, like that. It's good. And Srila Prabhupada's sister, who devotees knew by the name Pishima, I think. They knew her by that name. I think it was more of a nickname. But by her sister, who didn't speak English, she would listen to Srila Prabhupada's classes in English if she happened to be there and he was speaking in English. But she would always listen. She had no problem listening and trying to understand, even though she did not understand the language. So our spiritual advancement depends largely on our how intensely we have intensively we have a desire to hear the subject matter, to hear about Krishna, which is what Srimad Bhagavatam is about and Bhagavad Gita is about. Okay, going on. 40. Prabhupada tells short stories. In Mayapur in 1974, Prabhupada told 2 stories to show how acts of charity should be performed in knowledge, not in ignorance. A boy was raised by his aunt, who treated him very liberally. Through bad association, the boy became a thief, yet the aunt encouraged him. Oh, it is a very good business. You are bringing so many things without much labor, she said. In time, the boy became a murderer. He was captured and sentenced to be hanged. When asked what was his last wish, the man said he wished to speak to his aunt. The aunt was crying and crying. When she leaned forward to hear what the nephew wanted her to hear, the man bit off her ear. He then rebuked his aunt, saying that if she had chastised him for being a thief instead of showing him kind affection, he would not be hanged and she would not be lamented. In other words, so yeah, she should have corrected him instead of just encouraging even the bad activities. Another story. Prabhupada then related how he once had a neighbor whose daughter-in-law was one day beating her child. Prabhupada sent his servants to find out what was the cause. The servant returned and explained that the small boy's brother had typhoid fever. The sick boy told his younger brother that he was very hungry and asked him to bring him a paratha. The little boy was sympathetic and brought this paratha to his brother. When the sick boy ate it, however, the paratha aggravated the disease. When the mother found out, she punished the boy for endangering his brother's life. Therefore, charity given in ignorance results only in suffering.
Charity given
In ignorance. Yeah, because in this case, the boy gave his brother. He didn't understand that his brother was sick, and because of the sickness, he was not supposed to eat, or not supposed to eat certain things. But he was hungry. He was hungry, but he was not supposed to eat. He had some restricted diet, like happens if you're sick. So the brother of this sick boy, trying to do something, satisfy his brother, he went and he got some food, paratha. You know what paratha is? I'll explain paratha. He got this food called a paratha, and he gave it to his brother, and his brother got more sick, and then the mother was punishing the child for doing that because he didn't understand. So he did something which actually made his brother more sick. And paratha. Paratha is like a you know what a puri is? Puris?
fried.
Yeah, they're fried. You roll them out, you fry them in ghee, they puff up. Okay, so you take a puri dough, a dough similar to the puri dough, and you roll it out like when you roll out a puri. You sprinkle a little, or smear a little ghee on it. You fold it over, and fold it over again, so you have like a pie-shaped piece. and you roll it out again, and then you put it in a pan with some ghee, a little bit of ghee, and you like pan fry it, and it's a very tasty sweet, not sweet, a very tasty bread preparation. That's what a fart is. Part is also some stuffed part. Is you can put some potato or some kind of something inside and gently roll it out and then fry it the same way. All right. I want to go on, but it's almost 8:30. So maybe I shouldn't. Any questions, comments?
Yes, if you can elaborate a little bit about the three activities: charity, giving, and ignorance.
Giving charity in ignorance.
Yes.
Well, if you give charity to the wrong person at the wrong time, and Bhagavad Gita actually describes all this. If you give charity given in the mode of is a good charity is given in the mode of goodness, passion, or and ignorance. There's three different ways. Maybe we can read it. It's called the Divisions of Faith. That chapter somewhere. Where's the Divisions of Faith? Divisions of Faith. Sacrifices. Oh. So there's different results. Oh. Oh, here it is. Okay. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of passion. And charity performed in an impure place at an improper time to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. For example, mode of ignorance. Before I joined the movement, I was a kid, maybe it's 12 years old, 14 years old or something. I was outside. I think it was outside of the library, waiting for my mother to come and pick me up. I had to get a book for something for school, and I was sitting there waiting for her, and some man came up. He was pretty bad. He was stumbling over his own feet, you know. Maybe he was drunk, but I had no experience of drunk people up to that point. So he was walking like that, and he looked really bad. He was dirty. He told some story about how he said he came off the train. He had been beat up on the train. He told some story. He asked if can you just give me just 25 cents, just so I get something to eat. So I happen to have a dollar with me, and so I said, okay, I have a dollar. I'll give this to you. I said, use it wisely. I said that. Use it wisely. Anyway, he went straight across the street, the other corner, and there was a liquor store. So he went straight to the liquor store, got some whatever he could afford with what I gave him. I think they had little bottles about this size, and he walked, and they started walking back towards the library again. And then there were two old ladies sitting behind me, which I didn't notice before. And one was speaking to the other one and saying, "That man's been doing that all day." Because one person after another bags something, goes across the street, gets something to drink, and then comes back for more. So that was, I had no idea, I never even heard of a drunk person after that point. But so that would have been charity in the mode of ignorance. I gave charity to the wrong person at the wrong time, and he, what did he do? He went and he did something which was actually sinful. So he got whatever reaction he got for that sinful activity, drinking alcohol like that, and I would have, I guess I felt pretty bad once we realized what he did. And then I'm sure I got some kind of a reaction. I didn't know about karma and these things then, but I got some kind of reaction, I'm sure, for giving money to somebody who was used it in that way.
But sometimes you cannot tell how a person will.
That's right. So now practicing Krishna consciousness, I mean, all the time, if I'm outside, I'm walking around, there's always, I used to walk around Coconut Grove a lot, now I drive here and there. But when I was walking around, there were always people that came up to me and begging for money, but I would not give it. And one time somebody said, kept bothering me, just kept following me around, and I kept saying, I cannot give you. First I kept saying I don't have any money, and I probably didn't. I didn't have much anyway. If I did have something, it was probably not mine. It was probably something for the temple because I do temple services. Anyway, he kept following me, and he said, "But tell me why? Why can't you give it to me?" I said, because if I give you some money, and you take it somewhere, and you use it to buy some meat, for example, or liquor, then it'll be very bad for you. It'll be very bad for me, because these things are bad. Oh no, I'm vegetarian and I don't drink either, he said. Anyway, I was still walking back and forth and taking care of my errands around the Coconut Grove, and somewhere in that walking, I had to go into some other store, and there he was buying, a meat sandwich. So I looked at him and said, "See, this is what I'm talking about." And I just left. It's like that. So proper charity, we have charity, you give it to Krishna, donation box or temple like that, or buy something for the temple, for the deities, or you give it to someone who is seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, who's following regular principles like that, and they'll, even if they use it for themselves, they're using it for themselves in a way that will facilitate devotional service, like that. So that's the proper charity, and the middle one, the mode of charity and the mode of passion, means like somebody goes out, somebody gives a nice donation, maybe someone's rich, and they give a nice big donation, and then they make sure that everyone understands this. See, I just gave such and such charity, this big donation of such and such amount, and then of course they get glorified and appreciated like that. So if you're doing, I mean, getting appreciated is one thing, but if you're doing it for that purpose, so that others will, like that. So that's considered the mode of passion. Or if someone's giving charity, thinking, if you have an understanding of the Vedas at all, giving charity, thinking, okay, I'm giving this charity now, but in my next lifetime, I'm going to get this back 10 times more, or there's different, depending on who you give the charity to. So they're planning like that.
So, okay, just out of curiosity, you said it can increase like 10 times more in the next lifetime.
Yeah, it can. Of course, we don't want to come back the next lifetime, but but yes, if you give charity to a proper person, someone who's actually using it in the Lord's service, then you'll get very, very good result. But of course, the result that we would want if we're doing that, we should want, is just that I become Krishna conscious. But if you give to a qualified brahmana like that, then or a highly qualified brahmana, then your results will increase so much more in the next lifetime if you take another birth. But also, if you give that kind of charity in this lifetime, it'll help you to become Krishna conscious if you're giving to the right person in the right. So, but we're talking about mode of passion. So if you're giving charity for the particular purpose that I will gain so much material benefit in the future, that's mode of passion. And if or that I will I'll get so much money in the future because of this, or I will maybe be raised up to the heavenly planets, or that I will be glorified so much because I gave this charity. That's mode of passion.
So anyways, they would have some expectations.
Yeah, in all those cases, some expectation, either from immediate glorification or future increased amount of money you get because you gave to charity, like that.
So this is all about giving in the mode of passion. But if you're giving in the mode of ignorance, for example, I'm giving some money for a homeless person or disabled, let's say disabled person on the street. Would that be considered giving? Because you feel pity and you feel like helping that person.
Yes.
Would that be?
Well, if that homeless person misuses that money, it means in a way which is actually not favorable. Eating is one thing, but what are they eating with it? If they go out and they buy meat, or they use, most likely, then it's hurting them. But if you want to give charity you want to help people who are homeless and who are disabled, whatever, you want to help them. One thing for sure you can do is you can give some prasadam.
Or give knowledge, right?
Or knowledge.
The best
If they're receptive to knowledge, then that's great. If they're receptive to Krishna conscious knowledge, that's great. And if they're not, even at that point, but they're hungry, then you give them food that's been offered to Krishna. Yeah. Mosquito fly. Like that. So that's that's the principle. There's charity can be given in those different modes. Austerities can be performed in those different modes of goodness, passion, ignorance. All these things are described in chapter 17 of the Bhagavad Gita. It's called the Divisions of Faith. Okay, I'm over time again. Sorry. So we'll end here for today. Tomorrow is Srimad Bhagavatam again. If you get a chance, read the verse ahead of time. I think it was in 46 or 47. I'm not sure which was next upcoming. And I'll see if I can fix this camera problem. Thank you for staying for class. Srila Prabhupada.